I think when I leave here at Guantanamo Bay, one of the most interesting experiences that I've had is actually having the opportunity to escort the media around. It's interesting talking to people from all around the world, from Korea, from Sweden, from the Middle East, from North America, from all around the world, just having the opportunity to speak with different people and, just hear how they feel about the detainees here, how they feel about world politics. It's an enriching experience, and I feel like...
This is Lieutenant Moss, and his job is to show us that everything is okay here. But we have come here because we want to know what is really going on at Guantanamo. Filming isn't allowed inside of the prison camp, so we're thinking of shooting with a hidden camera. Unfortunately, that's just not gonna happen. We know there is a Swedish guy held inside here. His name is Matti. He'll be released later, and when he returns to Sweden, he'll give only one press conference.
Därmed lämnar jag ordet fritt för frågor och du först.
Du säger att du har varit där i 5 månader i Afghanistan. Alltså vad levde du på? Var bodde du? Hos vem?
Hur finansierar du alla de här resorna? Jag tror det var 6 resor på 2 år. Var befann du dig den 11 september 2001? Vad var din reaktion då?
Var du mer positivt inställd till bin Laden och Al-Qaida?
Träffade du Al-Qaida-anhängare?
Har du burit vapen?
Vad tycker du om Al-Qaida?
Vad tycker du om bin Laden?
And after that, he won't talk to us. He refuses to talk to anyone who has anything to do with the media. But to tell this story, we have to go back in time, to long before the press conference, when Matti was still held at Guantanamo, and when there was only the official version, as you could hear it on the radio station Voice of America.
Taliban and Al-Qaeda detainees are being scrutinized and interrogated at the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Only a select few American servicemen and U.S. officials have direct contact with the prisoners. U.S. officials insist the detainees are not tortured or subject to any cruel treatment during interrogation sessions. In fact, they say some interrogators go out of their way to make the captives feel comfortable, hoping to coax information from them in an easygoing fashion.
Everything is perfectly fine at Guantanamo. The prisoners and interrogators collaborate, and information is being gained in a friendly atmosphere. And exactly right here, the story could have ended if it wasn't for this man who we saw in a public square in Stockholm. He's met his father, and he had a feeling that things were not good at Guantanamo.
1,2, 2,4, 1,80, 40-45 grader varmt. De låst händerna, fötterna, dag och natt. Helt stängt. Får inte prata, får inte se, får inte höra.
But Matti's father didn't know that it was the other way around. It was Matti, together with most of the other prisoners, that had in fact decided to stop talking. Rumor now was that it wasn't 40 degrees hot at Guantanamo anymore, that the army had started exposing prisoners to freezing temperatures to get them to talk.
What I will do is urge him as a father to reach out, to communicate with his son via letter, which we will transport, and ask his son to just cooperate, come clean. This will help him determine his future.
Pierre Richard Prosper, the man with the good advice and puppy dog eyes. He is an expert of international law and assigned by the president to tour around and visit the countries who have citizens being held at Guantanamo. Here he was in Sweden to persuade Matti's father to convince his son to start to talk again.
Well, that's right. We're applying the Geneva Conventions, but he, by his conduct, has not earned the benefits or privileges to be labeled a prisoner of war. A prisoner of war is someone who is part of a responsible command or army, is someone who wears a uniform and a distinctive sign clearly, and it is someone who follows the laws and customs of war.
Tänk de hela tiden låst dag och natt. Men jag som är i hans far. Astaghfirullah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar.
We feel that by virtue of other information that we have, that he's a threat to our security. So we're holding on to him until we determine that he's not a threat to our security, or that we take other measures if we do determine that that's the case. He has the keys, basically, to his own prospects.
By cooperating.
Yes. He has simply not answered anything. He doesn't talk to the people. He's not accused of a crime. If he were accused of a crime, and if he is later accused of a crime, he will be tried in a court, and he will have a lawyer and all of the usual due process. We're a government that believes in the laws. We're a founder of the United Nations. We have a strong constitution. We have a great Supreme Court that has the ability to order even the president or the military to conform to good legal practice. But remember, he isn't accused of a crime.
Jag tycker att min son, han är ju en snäll kille. Ja, 100%. Och det är jag som har uppfostrat honom. Kallar jag för mor och far. Jag har ingen fel på honom. 100%. Det är ingen fel på min grabb.
We need to keep in mind that the people in U.S. custody are not there because they stole a car or robbed a bank. That's not why they're there. They're not common criminals. They're enemy combatants and terrorists who are being detained for acts of war against our country. And that is why different rules have to apply.
Different rules? Why did they need to define the prisoners at Guantanamo? The answer was that when the prison camp first opened, it was never intended to hold prisoners of war. Its purpose was to extract information to prevent future terrorist attacks.
The kind of people held at Guantanamo include terrorist trainers, bomb makers, extremist recruiters and financiers, bodyguards of Osama bin Laden, and would-be suicide bombers. They are not common car thieves. They are believed to be determined killers.
As far as I know, the head of the International Red Cross, for example, people who are experts on human rights issues say bluntly and clearly what you're doing is against all kind of human rights conventions.
But there was a fundamental problem.
Well, the only thing I know for certain is that these are bad people.
The United States had at one point in time signed the Geneva Convention, and there it stated that prisoners of war need only to answer 4 questions: name, rank, nationality, and ID number. 4 simple questions won't get you very far when you need answers to hundreds of questions. And a prison camp full of prisoners of war who only need to answer 4 questions is a useless prison camp. But there were no other rules. And leaders from countries who had citizens at Guantanamo started to get a little worried.
Prime Minister, the first matter he brought up was the Swedish prisoner. He was very forthright, very frank, and very concerned about the prisoner.
The situation seemed to be out of control.
Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay has become, in fact, simply a large interrogation camp.
What nobody knew was that the president had written a letter that only the president's inner circle were aware of. And in the letter,